Well, hey all, and welcome back. And I've got another package here from the ShowZ store that just showed up on my doorstep. And fitting, they included a card of the exact figure, which is the Dinobot Jungle Warrior Sludge. Now, I didn't have this as a kid because I actually wasn't allowed to have Transformers, but I had a cousin that had them, and every now and then, once a year when we go visit, I'd get a chance to play with it. Let's go ahead and get a 360 of the packaging. As you can see, we have something that looks pretty faithful to G1 packaging. We even have the Hasbro, ages 6 and up, all the lovely details from the grid marks to the illustrations. We can see photos of the art as well as the awesome back illustration and tech specs. Now coming back to the package, we can actually see it's a little bit loose in there. I'm not exactly sure how the plastic's set up, but it does move around a little bit. And I also feel like the saturation of the illustrations may not be correct. It is not that it is bad. It just feels like the box is a little bit aged. I'm going to compare it here with a reissue of Soundwave, and as you can see how saturated the colors are and how vibrant they are compared to this. Now this could be how the original packaging was, but I just want to point that out there if there is a difference from those who are familiar. It still looks good, and it probably would look good displayed on the shelf in the packaging. But with that said, let's go ahead and get this guy out of the packaging and see if he's worthy of our collection. And since this is going to be a fairly simple figure review, I want to go ahead and go over all the details so you can see if this actually fits in with your nostalgia. So we have this sort of interesting flap here that we have a blister card glued to. And it looks like we could probably cut along these lines in a way where we might be able to fold it back and retain this plastic without having to tear off the blister pack itself. But as you can see, we have the lines there. And I'll go ahead and do that off camera here in a moment, but I wanted to show you guys what else is included. So we have the instructions here. And so we can see the instructions. We'll go ahead and open that up. And we have a decal sheet. That's sort of a brushed metallic silver print job on it. We have this small sticker here, which is a Autobot rub sign. And if I put some heat on it, let's see what happens. It actually starts to change. Let's see if we can put a little bit longer. We have a second set of stickers in here as well as I'm applying some heat to here. Yeah, you can sort of see it comes through. It doesn't seem perfect, but I don't remember the original rub stickers being that great anyway. We have some film here. And it does seem to work with the tech specs. And as far as instructions go, let you guys peruse that. For details, it's two-sided. Everything feels pretty authentic. Printing may not be absolute perfect. Of course, this is a little bend in the booklet the way they inserted it. But for what I paid for this and how quick it came, I think so far everything's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy out of the blister pack, sticker him up, and we can go on from there. And here we have Sludge, all stickered up and ready to go in Dinobot mode. Now the first thing I want to talk about is these stickers themselves. There is a little bit of an issue. It's nothing entirely too major, but this sticker here and this sticker here I actually had to trim because they did not have the die cut where it cut it in half. May have been true on the original, but it was the case here. Also, the stickers are a little tricky to adhere because the tack is good enough to where they're not really easy to reposition, so you want to get it right the first time. And I did notice just these two stickers so far have been kind of having a little bit of peel overnight. I placed them down there and I noticed it kind of pilling up a little bit, so that's just something to be aware of. And on the note of die cutting, some of the stickers are not quite perfect. You can sort of see how, this is not an example, but I think we'll find on the chest piece actually that the Autobot signal is not die cut on the center. Let's go ahead and get a 360 of this guy. And overall, I mean, it's definitely got the feel of the G1 Dinobot. The plastic quality, I've transformed it a couple times, seems good enough, but it's nothing that's going to feel like it's going to crumble right away. Another note would be the electroplating of the chrome. I do feel like it's possibly on there very heavily because the details under the chrome don't feel extremely sharp. Something seems a little bit more glossy and smooth compared to how I would expect it. I do think they really pulled off the clear plastic on the head. I think this is exceptional. I think that's probably my most favorite part about these Dinobots. But I do think any difference is negligible to the point where it feels like I have a G1 Dinobot right here. I want to give you guys a little bit closer look at the chrome here. It actually looks good for the most part. As you can see what I'm saying here, it looks like the edges are a little bit rounded. They're not as sharp as I think I'd like. It's not quite a bubbling, but it seems like it's a bit thin here, almost like there was air pockets or whatever that may have kept it from being as thick in this area. The tail itself actually looks really good. I just think this area here that's the wings. But the sticker application is all fine. I do think if you were wanting this to be as authentic as possible, a set of repro labels might be the best bet. But I think as is, at least for my collection, this is going to be suitable. Let's go over the articulation. There is some, not a lot, but there is some. We have some movement at the head. We've got our up and down here. We have a jaw that opens. Back length turns, but if you turn it too much, you'll actually kind of trigger transformation. We have some articulation at the foot. And, I mean, this one kind of moves, but you have to deal with the arm that's underneath there. And that really covers it. This is G1. This is classic. This is what we grew up with. We used our imaginations. We didn't have to pose everything for stop motion and whatnot, but we enjoyed it. And just for transformation's sake, you can see under here how well it hides things. Really, the biggest gripe would be the arms, how they fold over under, but that is how they handled it. Now let's go ahead and get this guy transformed, and that is actually where another issue kind of arises. So we do snap these legs in here. It's got a nice little spring effect that pulls in very nicely. The part that is the biggest challenge is this tail here. And it's the way that it attaches on the inside. And I've actually had a little bit of an issue struggling to open it when I was doing my own transformation. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off screen to save some time. And really the best results I've had is using this plastic tool and putting it here and sliding up. And you can see here how it attaches. It's really just sort of got tabs on both sides inside here. It's simple, but it is tight, and I don't want to risk doing any damage, and that is how I've had to do it. So we tap those pieces, and they just fold down. We can take this here. This is going to form our legs. We'll just fold it out like so. And rotate the hips. This goes up, and we fold down, and we have our hip joints up here. Then we fold the head down, and you can see we have some these particular stickers right here coming off. I think applying some glue will be a solution for that. And then this piece here, you can see there's a tab in there, so that one needs to go lower, and you work it around the shoulders all the way back. We actually do the arms first. Do the arms first, move those forward. Then we can rotate the wings all the way back, put the head down, and then we have the fists that come out. So this guy is looking very G1 and very good. We have the painted chest here, and just to confirm what it's made out of, I have this very strong magnet here. There's likely no die cast. It isn't listed as having die cast, but I've also put a magnet on here, and I think it's pretty safe to say that this is not die cast on the front chest here, which is a little bit disappointing, but you're getting a fourth party figure much cheaper than what you're going to get for the original, so that's kind of what you have to deal with. Even so, it looks close enough and good enough in that respect. But yeah, we have our bot here. A little bit back heavy, of course, but he will stand, and he does look good. Now, one thing I want to point out is on the box here, there is a chrome weapon But just like the G1 figure, we actually have a red sword, which he can hold like so. We have a blaster, which looks pretty good. Can also be held. The peg is a little tight. There we go. So there we go. We've got both weapons, or we've got two weapons. We actually have three. And we have this third one, which is blaster, that looks pretty good. And watch this. It's got a really good spring mechanism in there for launching the missile. So I think that's pretty cool that it actually retains the working spring feature. We have two more missiles. There was no need to cut them off though. But yeah, this is all feeling very G1. Let's go ahead and get a 360 this guy. I think the details all look good, except for where I mentioned that the electroplating may be a little bit heavy on the chrome pieces. Plastic feels a little bit on the darker side, but the quality overall feels good, transformation's tight, and the joints seem to hold up pretty well. Now let's go ahead and get this guy back in hand and look at the articulation here. So of course this is G1. His arms move up and down like so. That is what we get. There's a little bit of articulation turning the arm in for transformation, and the same thing for wrist, but that's really not much for articulation. We do have the chest that opens up for the Diaclone driver like past. I like that this is a clear plastic. It all feels very good. It's a little floppy when you hold it like that, but it stays put in if you just have it displayed. As you can see here, this is where I mentioned that the die cut was off on the Autobot sticker. Same thing with this chest piece. It's just off a little bit. Minor gripe, but it kind of irks me a little bit. Then the stickers here, these all seem fine. We have some hip articulation on the side. We have this joint here. This joint's actually pretty loose. It's good enough to hold him up, but just be aware that is a little floppy. And if you want to tighten it, since it uses a pin or kind of a rivet, actually, you could probably try to insert either a small piece of paper or some shoe polish within that joint to help stiffen up a little bit if that bothers you. But I think for me, it actually is going to stand just fine as long as I don't knock it over. There is knee articulation. And I believe the head was supposed to rotate, but it is very tight. And I'm not going to risk overdoing it just for the sake of, I don't want to break it in case it's not supposed to. We can look a little bit closer at the details here. And I think that's a really good looking face sculpt. I really think this is a great looking rendition of Dinobots, and I really do like this. And here we have him with G1 Optimus Prime to really see if it hits home in the nostalgias. I think it looks good. I think it's going to look good on the shelf. I have hunted for this guy for a while, but every time I find him, the chrome is way too beat up and it's missing parts, arms, weapons, whatnot. And people still want $40 for a busted up one. This one is a bit cheaper than that, and you're getting something that you can throw on display and sort of just get those feels back that we left back in the 80s. And I really think this is something, especially for being a bootleg, good enough to put on display. Thanks again to ShowZ Store for sending this out to me. And let us know in the comments below if this is worthy of your collection. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.